Righto, let's have a little look at the maintenance kit. So these are the ingredients we will need to get the maintenance done. We've got this can of Precision contact cleaner. We've got some Tribo Lube 66 from Rian. There's white tape and a Sharpie here as well, in case we want to make a note that something's gone wrong with one of the scooters. We can just write it on here, stick it on, and we'll know which one was the problem if we don't already note it down. Some microfiber towels, a blower, that's for blowing all of the stuff out of the bay, and we've got, oh shit, that was close, a screwdriver with accessories inside. Okay, so that should be everything that we need to do the maintenance. There's also this here, which is a box of spares. This is spare fins, spare clips, triggers, and that's mostly staying on the boat. This doesn't have to stay on the boat. Okay, that's everything. Let's do one. So straight away we've got an issue with this one. Hear that? There's water in it. Okay, the water getting in it isn't the end of the world as long as it's cleaned out, emptied daily. Now when you look inside here, you're going to see there's a tab here and there's a tab here. These have to be lifted off. They just unclip. Okay, now you can see there's a white mark here on this turnable collar, and you'll notice that there's a white mark here on the fin section, on the tail section. So all you need to do is just reach in there and move that guy over until they line up. And all of this will come out, including that water. Oh my, I should have done this somewhere else. Damn it. Good idea is to always put things in bowls because they will go missing. Right, when that's unscrewed, that just comes off, and we can give that a bit of a clean as well. There's 3 screws in here. They have tiny little washers in them, except for that one. That one hasn't got a washer. Don't think that's the end of the world. The other 2 do. Okay, that just pops up. See the other washers in there. And that's how you replace fins. That's the best way of getting that out. Brilliant. There we go. That's given that a great clean up. Now, because this one's had water in it, I'm going to take those 4 screws out. Have a look inside. So with the small bit now. Okay. We can give this a bit of a clean up and a blowout. If there was no water in there, it wouldn't be necessary to do this, but that's a sealed, I think that's a sealed bearing now that we're using, so so that's good. Just give that a bit of a wipe down. Okay, now we'll give that a blow. Looking better. Right, that's all cleaned up, so now we can pop the fins back on. And you just sit in like this. This guy will feed through the three of them. Okay, there we go. That's all nicely in now. So we'll just pop those screws back in at this stage. Okay, so we want to set these fins the maximum angle because that is setting number 3. On here you'll see it says 1, 2, 3. Line that 3 up with that indicator, and that's how this is going to go on. So set that to 3, which is where this is now, which is where it always should be, is on 3, not 2 or 1. And then we can pop this guy back on. Get the spring in, line that up. Alright, just make sure that the little screw, the little washers go in before you hammer it home. Okay, good. Now let's move on to this component. Firstly, we'll blow all that stuff out. Sweet. Okay, now you'll see in here there are 2 O-rings. One down here that is sitting in that way, and there's one that sits into a groove halfway down here. You just see them there. Both of those got to come out and be cleaned. One very dirty O-ring. The second one is right in the bottom here. He's pretty loose. Look at that, easy peasy. Okay, big one goes in the bottom, small one goes on the vertical face. Don't grease these, they just need to be wiped down. Good clean. Now we need to clean where they sat. So again, with a trusty blower. Get our splash guards in place. Okay. So for cleaning inside these grooves down here, you can just get this guy and fold him in, just run that around. These are ridiculously sharp, they're too sharp. I'm going to put the grinder on them. Right, that's better. I've just taken the sticky sharpness off those. They don't need to be that sharp, and then because you're in danger of actually scratching the plastic housing with it. So right, so I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to get a little bit of tissue and stick him down there under the vertical face one. I might just be able to do it like that. Run that around. Yeah, it's getting it out. Whatever works for you. Let's clean up that groove. And the bottom one looks pretty good, but just give it a little tickle up. Brilliant. Okay, look at all that shit that's come out of there. But this one, we're caught in time. So I think we'll be sweet. Good thing about tissue is you can really get satisfaction from cleaning. Look at all that cack in there. Right, so our nice clean O-rings can now drop right back into place. Just make sure it sits in that groove all the way around. Yeah, see now here, if you can see that, it's just popped out. So you've really got to be careful to make sure that she sits in all the way around. Might need a head torch. It's a bit dark. You've got black on black here, so it's quite hard to see. But that's sitting in nicely. Right, this vertical one here will be a little bit easier because it's tight-ish, and that should just snap in. Run that down, it should hit the groove and just pop in like that. Beautiful. Okay, now we need to get a bit of grease onto this. Not much, but we just need to go a little bit there, go around, just a little smidge, and on this surface as well. Okay, just smear that in. Okay, that's nice and greased. Now to put it back in, it's pretty much the there's a couple of things you need to be looking out for. First thing to do is just get this all aligned. You've got the yellow dot. You need to make sure the yellow dot is lined up with that little hole there. There's an indent there and an indent here. So line them up to there. Get your motor lined up on that same axes and that'll just make life a heck of a lot easier putting it back together. Okay, find a yellow dot, align this guy up to the indents, and then you should just be able to plop it straight in. When you line up the yellow dot, everything will be aligned. That's it. You can feel it click into place, and the indents, the little tabs will get into the indents. Just hold it down and start that collar moving. Okay, now if you haven't got it right and you turn that collar, the whole thing will turn. So if you haven't got a spacing like that between those yellow dots when you're finished, you've done it wrong, and you have to pull it apart and do it again. So you just bring this guy around as far as it'll go, and then bang in with that tab, bang in with that tab. Make sure that those tabs are fully down. So this one isn't quite, so it just needs to go around a little bit, and then she'll click into place. Boom, and that's it. And that's that. So now that that's done, all the running gear's all cleaned up and beautiful and good to go. Now we're going to clean the inside of the battery bay. Never put this on the ground like that. Can you see? Yeah, never put this on the ground, always lie it like thusly. Check 1, 2, 3, 4 of these lugs are in there and that they're all seated correctly. We have a look in here. You can see there's a lot of dirt and grit and crap around the O-rings. There's 2 O-rings. This guy, and then there's the red drop-in one. Okay, so let's just give that a bit of a blowout. We'll get all of this stuff, all this debris that's in here, all of that can get into and compromise the O-rings. So we'll just give that a bit of a blow. Now we can use the precision contact cleaner again in here. So we can just give that a little spray, not directly into the plugs but just around. Give that a good wipe down. That trusty blower. Okay, here's the O-ring out for us. Alrighty, just run around that edge. Get onto the inside of this O-ring compartment here. I've blunted that so that's not going to scratch anything. Give that a good clean. Don't use the tip because it could scratch. Just like this, forcing the towel into the groove and getting any, you can pick out little bits of shit that are in there. Bloody fingernail works best. Hamish, you'll struggle. See, this is why you have big girly fingernails. That's perfect. Alright, so we've got that guy cleaned out. Now we have to pick out the big O-ring. Just put him aside for now. And we'll apply the same technique. Clean that out. Now again with the O-rings, just give them a good wipe down, no grease, just keep them clean. Run your finger around, feel for any damage or any grit that's left on there. That one is sweet. Okay, pop him back on. And the same with the red one. Also with these O-rings, when you're cleaning them, don't be stretching them as you're pulling them through your fingers. Just be nice and gentle, because if you stretch these, then they can get overstretched and they won't fit back in properly. So with all of the O-rings, just nice and gentle through the fingers. Sometimes it's better just to use a tissue rather than a rag for that reason, so that you've got a bit more, it doesn't grip quite as tight. We'll just feel for any damage on him. No, sweet. So this one, just drop them in. Don't be running your finger along, you will stretch it, you'll be left with a bit like that at the end. So it just has to be dropped in. Okay, so maybe we'll just go around and we'll We'll sort of get those corners in loosely. Then just, if you put it like that and run your finger along as you're guiding it in, it will stretch it slightly and it won't pop in. Because when you're finished, you'll be left with a loop. So that's how to get them in properly. Okay, that is all good. Now, that's nice and clean. We're just checking these contacts, make sure there's no damage. We will report any damage as we go along, even if it's just minor, then it can be rectified either in the next service, or if it's more dramatic, then it can be done straight away. We can send it off to Reassembly for a proper fix. So in here, you'll see there's a lot of grit accumulated. That all needs to come out. So I can just grab my tissue or my towel or whatever and just give that a wipe, paying particular attention to that edge there. That inside edge, this needs to be spot on. Again, fingernail in the corner. Clean up those contacts there. I'm just going to blow most of this out. That's looking much better. I'm happy with that. All these little grains of sand and grit and stuff can get into the O-ring. A grain of sand can give you a bad day. Okay, so it doesn't go on the O-rings. Okay, it goes on here. Just get a little wee tiny bit on your finger. That's it. Here we go. Very slippery stuff. Less is more. Just so that that's nice and slippery. Cap back on. This guy is now done. So that was a longer process, that one, because we had a flood in there, and it was also quite dirty. So they shouldn't all take as long as that. And yeah, I'll go through and I'll do the other 5 now, and so they'll all be serviced. The weekly service is done, and I'll mark that up on the sheet to say that it's all been done, and we're good to go. Okay, that's it for now. Is that even recording? Right, so just a little point on washing down the scooters. Obviously, we're you're doing it from top to bottom, and you're getting in and getting all of these bits of metal all sorted out, including these bits in here. But it's quite important to clean the spring. There's a spring mechanism inside of here, so for that you can just stick the hose in like this. Just hold it there. Wait for that water to come out the other side. Give it a 5 count on that, so that water's got a good swish inside this handle and all of that metal mechanism that's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because those springs do rust out, and that's definitely an area where you need to have a good swish going on inside of there at the wash down after every day. So yeah, that's about it for washing them down. The rest is self-explanatory.